The Mesa Chamber of Commerce Inside Business Podcast brings you a unique view of Mesa through its vibrant business community and the subjects that are important. The podcast is produced in the Mesa Chamber of Commerce Media Studio, sponsored by the University of Phoenix. Our podcast is hosted by Mesa Chamber of Commerce CEO Sally Harrison. Please enjoy this episode of the Mesa Chamber Inside Business Podcast.
Hi, I'm Sally Harrison, President and CEO of the Mesa Chamber of Commerce, and today we are in our podcast studio with my friends Tawnya Christensen and Jeff Bear. Oh my gosh, it's so good to have you here, and I haven't seen you forever.
It's been forever.
It has been.
It has.
It is. But I'm glad you're both here today because May is a very important month, and we're going to talk about the 31 Days of Healing campaign. So before we do that, let's have some introductions. You want to talk about who you are and where you're from?
My name's Tawnya Williams Christensen. I'm the Assisted Living Director at Fellowship Square Mesa. I oversee the assisted living for our Oasis, our Altex HUD, and our memory care, secured memory care. So there's about 130 residents, 68 employees, and all their families that we serve on a daily basis. And our goal is to have everybody live on their terms, their way, to the best of our ability.
Very important job. Yeah. Thank you. Jeff?
Jeff Bear, Copa Health, Community Relations Coordinator. So one of the initiatives that I get to work on every year is our Mental Health Awareness Initiative, and that's what we're here to talk about today. I also get to work on our Emergency Preparedness Initiative, which is at the Emergency Preparedness Conference, which is held annually now, and it's become one of the preeminent emergency preparedness conferences in the Valley, incorporating, last year we had 65 different organizations involved in it. So I like to think I get to do a lot of good things for the community in the pay it forward mode.
Nice. Well, and a nice variety of things.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the 31 Days of Healing campaign. Talk about what that's about.
Okay. What it's about is essentially raising awareness in mental health advocacy and really spreading messaging of all kinds in positive ways throughout the community. And the way that we do it is through a mixture of different messaging units, whether it's the PSAs that we create. Sally's got a great one that she did this year for us. This year we're doing 4 webinars. Mm-hmm. Oh,
That's
Sally's on a webinar. Matter
Yes.
of fact, it is May 8th at 5 o'clock, and I'm sure that the Chamber will be sending out the link to all of your members so
Pretty
they
sure
can
Jay
sign
has
up.
done that, yes.
We have a mental health awareness night at FC Arizona soccer game on the 18th, Saturday the 18th.
That's great.
And I have some free tickets if anybody wants.
Okay,
So
nice.
Call me if you want some free tickets.
Very cool. Very cool. How long have you guys been doing this mental health campaign?
You know, we started, I'm almost at like 9 years at Copa, and I think after, it was the first year I was there that we had Mayor Giles come out and do a proclamation at then-Mark Community Resources. Mm-hmm. And each year it's gotten a little bit bigger, and we've started doing the PSAs about 3 years ago with some of the NFL alumni guys, and started bringing them in and, you know, try to utilize that sphere of influence. So this is the largest collaboration we've had. We have a multitude of different organizations this year that are partnering with us, including the Chamber of Commerce and Fellowship Square. You two are the presenting sponsors of our webinars, by the way. Should mention that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
But we have some great organizations, but also some really good individuals that have come in to add their expertise, their knowledge, their wherewithal, and again, all promoting advocacy, mental health in a lot of different directions.
Well, it's nice that we're finally talking about this, right? Because obviously mental health's been an issue forever, but it's kind of been that hidden thing that people don't want to address.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that people in our community, organizations in our community are finally addressing it is really something special.
Yeah, we had our first webinar this week, and it was called Stop the Stigma. And we had some teenagers involved. 2 of them are the founding members of a band called Zero Reasons. And their mission as a band is to promote mental health awareness.
Nice.
The other, and we also had a young lady by the name of Rihanna Alexander who started a nonprofit called Arizona Youth for Mental Health. And she's, I think it was like two or 3 years ago she began this nonprofit. So she's in a really good space. But we also had 2 former NFL players. One of them is the father of one of our senior vice presidents at Copa. And the perspective was great because we had, teenagers talking about stigma, and then we had former athletes talking about what it was like in the locker room and what it's like in society, and just really, really great messaging through the whole thing.
That's great. Well, Tawnya, can you talk about what your role is in this campaign?
Yes, so I am on the mental health committee with Copa, and I get to talk about caring for the caregiver. I spend a lot of time with caring for the caregiver. I am personally a personal caregiver for my husband, who has mental illness and diagnosis of mental illness, and also the worst chronic pain condition known to man called reflex sympathetic dystrophy, which is considered the suicide disease. So personally, I've been blessed by mental health concerns firsthand to help me help others. And so I get a very nice seat to help bless others in understanding what a person goes through when they go through mental health issues, chronic pain issues, decline, different things that happen. I deal with seniors that go through a season of life where they're on the decline, and we do our best to keep everybody as comfortable as possible to victory. But we're working with the caregivers, both professional and personal, is a great mission of mine because of my story. So I love being a part of Copa Health because it brings the excruciating pain that I've been through to bless others, and it makes it have a purpose, and it makes that pain okay.
Well, thanks for the work that you do. Will you be a panelist on the May 22nd webinar?
Yes, so I'll be with the Caring for the Caregiver panel on May 22nd. It'll be at 5 p.m., and we're really looking forward to doing that.
So how do you care for caregivers?
Basically, what's most important is to spend time with the caregiver of the person and getting to know them very well. Typically, a caregiving person has gone through some major situations alone. It's very, very difficult to ask for help. It's actually the number one question that's very hard to do. And so what I like to do is give caregivers tips on how to handle things based on my experience. So there's different tips like halt. Don't get too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And if you are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, stop or halt. And I also like the practice of writing out everything you do to care for your person, whether it's mowing the lawn, making dinner, getting prescriptions, whatever it is, write down each one on a postcard, and then delegate. What can family help? What can friends help? What can I get paid help for? What can I get volunteer help for? Because typically a caregiver doesn't know what they need help with.
Sure.
And my last tip would be that when you know one of your friends are in need or they're going through a crisis of caregiving, say, hey, I'm at the grocery store. What can I pick up for you?
Great.
Telling a person, hey, call me when you need me, will not happen. Like I said, asking for help is the hardest question to ask. So you offer, especially with your chronically or toxic independent caregivers, say, hey, I'm here. I want to pick some stuff up for you. What do you need?
That's great.
And compassionately help.
That makes a lot of sense. Jeff, who are you trying to reach with this campaign? I mean, we're in a big city. Who's your target?
Everybody?
As many people that we can reach is the goal, and in a big number. We've already been fortunate to have. Actually, I should mention this. We met this young man through the chamber, Christian Carrillo, with FC Arizona, who's responsible for this soccer night at the FC Arizona game. But Christian had a great idea about having one of these webinars in Spanish.
Beautiful.
So we actually have one scheduled that's going to be entirely in Spanish.
Very cool.
But he went over and above. He had a connection to Telemundo and talked to one of the broadcasters there, and they came out and did an interview in Spanish with our Dr. Medina, Diana Medina.
Very
Who,
cool.
when Dr. Medina came into Copa, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, she was the only, or one of 14, I think it was at the time, individuals that was licensed to practice psychology in the state that was bilingual. So we have that addition, because that was a population. We wanted to see how can we reach out to this population. So, and on Tanya's webinar, we have actually, I met these folks through Tanya's dad, John Scott, Tony Rodarte, and his wife, Dr. Melody. They have a nonprofit called Compassion Alliance. So what they deal with are first responders that have an issue and need some counseling. But if they go and they do it under the provisions of whatever medical plans they have, it goes into their work record. But with the Compassion Alliance program, it's private.
Yeah.
So so
great.
when you talk about the audience, it's like, how far can we go?
Yes.
How many different directions can we go to help as many people as we can? So that's kind of, how many people? It's unlimited.
Okay. Well, Tawnya, as you work with your residents, what are the most important lessons you can share?
I think the most important thing to do is to make every single moment matter. Make sure that we keep comfort and safety at the top of our list, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. So doing that takes a lot of layers of policies and procedures and training, but it's very important on our last season of life. We're as comfortable in our skin, in our mind, and in our spirit as possible.
Good. Jeff, got goals for this month?
Yeah, we're trying to increase our outreach via media. So one of the things, and like I just mentioned about the Telemundo feature, that's happened, and I think actually it was on May 2nd. They televised that on May 2nd. We had another one of our doctors, Dr. Dekatowski, on Sonora Living, and apparently that was on yesterday or today. I got a clip of that. We're scheduled to have the band, Zero Reasons, and somebody from Copa on Channel 3. I think it's on the 22nd of this month. So what we're trying to do is extend the messaging in as many ways as we can, and this year through broadcast. I need a contact over at East Valley Institute of Technology.
I could probably help you with that.
I know you can. So this is the answer to the question is there's always more.
Amen.
Well,
I guess my goal though, Sally, would be to get you on the Today Show.
oh gosh,
That would be
okay.
beautiful.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
no.
I do think that there's a lot of opportunity for the listeners of this and the people who are seeing all of our social media posts to share, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell people about
Very
it.
important.
Right.
Yeah. Tawnya, there's a term, resident directed care and comfort. What does that mean?
So basically what that means is you get to know the resident the way they chose to live life throughout their life. You get to know what their spiritual beliefs are. You get to know what their core values are. Because even when we have brain change or memory loss or anything that happens as we age, the part of the brain that doesn't get affected is the intuition, the spirit of the brain. So your intuition stays with you all the way to victory. And if we can keep the intuition feeling safe and comfortable, that's how we help people thrive all the way to victory. So it's really important to speak to the person the way they need to be spoken to.
That makes a lot of sense. Everybody's different. Everybody
Everybody's
has different needs.
Everybody needs to be approached differently. If you tell me you will do this, I will not. If you tell somebody else you will do this, they're excited to do it. So
Sure.
everybody has a different approach.
Well, any final thoughts?
31 days of healing.
You
Share,
go
share,
first,
share. Our 31 days of healing is a very important thing. Every single person on the planet has mental health issues and concerns and needs, and they all need to be met. There's not one person on this earth that hasn't been traumatized in some way. There's not one person that has some kind of chemical deficiency in some way. There's no stigma here. It's just like having any type of illness. It's not a character flaw. It's an issue that needs to be addressed, and there's no shame in this. So the more we can talk about it, the more we're open about it, the more that we hear about it and educate ourselves about it, the better our society will be.
Thank you. Yeah, we need to keep talking. Jeff?
I think in the world we live in today, there's so much negativity. We need to be more positive, and we need to try to help people be more positive. So I have a message from someone who I've long admired as an entertainer. He says this in his show every time he does his show. But it's just a great message. It's be good to yourself, be good to those that you love, and be good to this world. And I think if we all did that, we'd have a much better world.
Amen.
Yeah, we would. Great parting words. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you so much, Sally.
This has been a Mesa Chamber of Commerce Inside Business podcast. You can find all podcast episodes at iTunes, Spotify, or your own favorite podcast website. You can also find them online at mesachamber.org. Content of this podcast is copyright the Mesa Chamber of Commerce, unless otherwise noted.